It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am thankful that you are joining me today. My friends, it is a Tuesday, and this week we are making it a Tools Day because this past weekend I had the opportunity to attend my very first Tool concert. That is right, my friends. The Daily Doug got his Tool cherry popped on Saturday, and I am changed. Y'all, I had a great time, and I have some insights and some reactions that I want to share with you. But there are stories to go along with what we experienced this past weekend. My little brother, DJ Dan, was supposed to be with us, and he ended up not being able to join us. So I Zoomed with him yesterday to get the backstory on that. We're going to start with my conversation with Dan, and then I'm going to go into some of my my behind the scenes footage and a couple of clips from the show itself. And then after that, I want to go into some of my reactions and thoughts from my experience seeing Tool live for the very first time. So here is a short conversation between me and my little brother, the Tool fan himself, DJ Dan. All right, hey y'all, I am here with DJ Dan, and there is some backstory to the Tool concert that was and was not. So Dan, what is happening?
Wasabi.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning, shall we? Let's start from the very beginning. When did you first learn about Tool?
Oh man, wow. That's a great question. And it takes me all the way back to, I think, 1992. I want to say that, let me turn my Tool. I have some Tool in the background here. I know it's kind of wrong to turn Tool down, but let me turn. So 1992, and let me just tell you a quick story on this one. I was called, but I'll never forget it. It was a life-changing moment.
Okay.
I received a phone call. This was 1992. So this was on like one of those corded, landline phones, like you're not on one of these fancy smartphones, right? So I took the call, and as my friend Mark Jacobson, I think I was in the 8th grade, and he said it was a Wednesday night. And I remember this because he said, Dan, I have these tickets to this band called Tool. And I'm like, well, I've never heard of them, but I love concerts. Let's go. And he's like, well, it's kind of a heavy metal band. And I'm like, well, I'll just tell my mom I'm going to church. And little did I know I was going to church, right? And so there I was, and the Flaming Lips opened
and
up.
And she believed Tool. You because it was a Wednesday night.
It was a Wednesday night. So
praise Jesus.
Praise the Lord.
Hey, amen.
Amen.
It was a spiritual experience, I'm sure.
It really was. And
where did you see them at? Do you remember? Were they in Omaha?
We'll get to this later, but this is, Sacred Mirrors by the wonderful Alex Gray. It is a spiritual experience. That's maybe a conversation for a later time, but it was at the Mancuso Convention Hall in Omaha, Nebraska. It was the basement of the Civic Auditorium. So it wasn't in the auditorium itself. It was in the little sliver hall, that was.
I'll be darned. In 8th grade, and they let you in as like a adolescent?
Yeah, absolutely. By golly, we were in the pit. Yeah, it was great.
I'll be damned. So how many times have you tried to get me to see Tool and not succeeded? Too many to count, I'm sure. But this time, so we were talking a few months ago, and we saw that Tool was on tour, and we thought, wouldn't it be great to go to a show together? And then we kind of, a few weeks went by. Then all of a sudden, you call me one night, and you say, "You're going to Tool. I got the tickets, and I've got my my plane ticket." And so you were gonna be there, and then you weren't there, but I still got to go. So inquiring minds on my channel want to know how it happened that you ended up not being able to come to the Tool show with me.
Fair.
Tell us.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it's so booked the flights. I did a lot of research on where to sit, like where's a good vantage point. So I've been to about 1 million Tool shows, so it's nice to be able to see the visuals as you now saw. you know, and really get an immersive experience. So, you know, I put a lot of effort into that. And so booked the flight. I was arriving into Newark, right? It was all planned out. The Prudential Center's in Newark.
For sure.
You know, all of that, right? So flight got in at like 4:30. So there I was. And so I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm all excited. I, you know, have my tool shirt ready to go. And
so you were going to make this, a flight from Reno, where you live, to the New York area during the Saturday, in time to get there for the Saturday night show, and then stay overnight with me, and then fly back on Sunday. And you're going to bed Friday night, and you get a text that what?
Text message Friday night late, and that said all of a sudden from American Airlines, your flight's been canceled. No reason. I know. No explanation. No. So it was actually that the flight from Arizona to New York, not from Reno to Arizona.
So your connecting flight got canceled.
My connecting flight got canceled. And so I stayed calm. I went and did a little shot of bourbon or something, and maybe that didn't help. So this is where it gets so I go to my computer and I'm like, well, it's New York, you know, how hard is it to get to New York on a weekend, right? So I went onto my computer, I looked, and there was not a dang thing available. There was no flights like to even JFK and De La Guardia, the other
De La Guardia.
That was the doctrine.
Oh Lordy.
So there was no flights, right? And
that
so
seems
I'm like,
weird
crap.
too.
So long story short, you know, I used to fly United a lot. I kind of told myself I'd never fly United again. But anyway, so I started looking at United flights because I was a little desperate, right?
Sure.
And by golly, there was a flight that left Reno at 5:30 in the morning that arrived Newark at 3:30 in the afternoon local time. And I'm like, well, that's perfect.
Rock and roll.
I get in there an hour earlier, more time to pregame, all that good stuff. You know, have my tool lighter right here, right?
Nice.
And the stoke level's high. So I rebook. I'm on United. I'm like,
how much did that cost? Because you switched airlines. You didn't even get rebooked on the airline that canceled
I just said, screw it. I kept my return flight, and it was like a $750. I was committed at this point. It was like a $700 and some flight, right?
Damn.
So I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna do it, right? I made the reservation. I go to bed. I set my alarm for like 3:00 in the morning. Go to bed, wake up, and going to the airport the next day, like a few hours later.
So you were in the car and going to the airport like at dark 30 on Saturday, still planning to come.
Saturday, dark 30. It's like 3:30 in the morning. Literally, it's 3:30 in the morning. City's looking like a ghost town. Okay, sorry.
No Garth Brooks on tour on the Tool video.
Yeah, it's like in Wayne's World, like no stairway to heaven. It's like, what do you mean? So so on the way to the airport, driving to the airport, and I'm checking in, right? So that's because I wasn't checking a bag. It's a 24-hour turnaround trip, it's a quick trip. So easy. I'm checking into my flight, and it says they can't check me in because it's not 24 hours ahead of my flight. I'm like, well, that's not a good message, because I copied and pasted the record number, right? So I looked at my reservation, and what do you know? Through all my searching, I booked 30 days later. So because February there's 28 days in February. What was it? The 26th is that is a Saturday in February and March.
Same day of the week. So you're telling me it's the calendar's fault? Totally.
No, it was all my fault. Well, it's American's fault. It's American Airlines' fault.
Yeah.
But on the rebook, the rebook was my fault on that. And in hindsight, there were no flights. And so I'm on. So basically, I'm like, well, screw it. looked at my girlfriend. I said, I guess I'm not going to New York today. She's like, what do you mean? It's 3:30 in the morning and I'm driving you to the airport. It's like,
That's crazy.
And so at that, anyway, so we readjusted our plans.
Cool.
I was pretty disappointed. It really
missed you. That was my first Tool show.
Very
first one.
You don't know how it still hurts.
I got I went at like at intermission, and I asked them. There's my Tool. I got my 2022.
Do you have a 5X?
Well, yeah, that's what I asked them. I go up there,
the gun show.
And of course I am Doug sized, and I'm looking at all of the t-shirts that are along the back row, and I just cut to the chase. I asked the lady, do you have anything in 3X? And there's like 20 shirts back there, and she turns around and she says, you got, it's like either it's number 4 or number 8. I'm like, I'll take number 4. So number 4,
at least it wasn't the number 2.
that would have been painful, right? But we got this is the back of it. I don't even know what that is. What does the eye signify?
That's the third eye, Doug. That's a reaction that you haven't done yet, which is one of my favorite songs, Third Eye.
Third Eye?
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 eyes. And then there's something on the that looks like what's on your yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Tool.
Yeah. Oh, would you just look at that? Oh, so they gave you a Los Angeles, so it must be it. So that was a tour shirt from the LA show.
There you go.
And what's weird is look at this. This is one.
And there's no triple X people in LA, at least in size. At least in size.
Only The Rock, Dwayne. That's cool, man.
We had an Airbnb, like 2 blocks from the venue, all set up. And so what ended up happening was that my wife Megan came along.
My wife?
Yeah, very nice. So Megan stayed in the Airbnb, and then our friend Bill, who was in the Council of Dougs, and then our good friend Matt, who I'm going to the Dream Theater show with in March. Matt decided that he would come along, so we still got to go with some friends, and we enjoyed ourselves. But man, I missed having you there, man. It was going to be so much. It was going to be like an epic event, and it still was. But maybe, we still have time. I think Tool's going to keep touring,
as they will.
So we'll find another one. How many times have you seen Tool over the years?
Yeah, I was just counting. And it's funny, I've seen Tool, I think on,
you only have,
I have to confirm this, but
you only have 10 appendages.
I think I've seen Tool on every single tour that they've been on.
Wow.
Since they started touring in 1992. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think officially touring, I think they were some guests, but that was headlining tours. So I might be off by a year or 2 there, but somewhere in that time frame. So I want to say around 20. It might be 15. It's definitely more than 15. It might be 20. It's a lot. And sometimes, like when I lived in San Francisco for 15 years, right? And there were tours when they came, because there was a few years they didn't tour, right? Or they toured very, very little, or did like a show or 2 during their, 1,000 years between albums, it felt like. But I have seen Maynard many, many times. In addition to Tool, I've seen Perfect Circle, Pussifer. I even saw Maynard doing his book reading in San Francisco. So I think as a Perfect Union of Contrary Things, great book if you haven't read it. But
cool.
Saw that. It was pretty special. So what I was going to say before is I'd go to multiple shows on the same tour. There was back-to-back shows. San Francisco was the same set list, but all Tool fans, we don't care. It sounds great every time.
Do you have a favorite tour or show that stands out over the years?
Yeah, well, the first one, I go back to like the first, I was 14 years old, something like that. Hey, 14 years old, Airplane, sorry for the Jeff Foxworthy jokes there, but yeah, that one I remember being like at the concert. The floor was sticky from all the beer and people boozing, and like you could smoke inside then, so all the cigarette smoke and like the mosh pit. I was totally immersed by like, wow, this is amazing. Not only does this band sound absolutely incredible, and I saw that was actually the tour where Paul Diamore. So for all you old school Tool fans out there, Tool does not have their original bassist. So Paul was the bassist on the I think Opiate and Undertow. And then he left to go do other things, but saw him, and I remember just the picking of the bass just being so powerful and pronounced, and just obviously think Tool's in what, D, like 99% of the time. So I guess I love the key of D, double D, Dan and Doug.
There you go.
There it is. So
yeah, that D tuning does have an
in
intensity and a resonance to it that really does kind of fill the room. We had a great time though at this past weekend, and I've got some clips that I was able to take. I was careful.
It's quite risky
because
I've seen people that were kicked literally removed from the venue. So I warned you.
Yeah, I know. Warned you. But there were people that were around me that were just holding their phones up and taking like videos of whole songs, and nobody was messing with them. Yeah. So I thought occasionally if I kind of did a little clip here and there, just so I could document the experience.
Of course.
The fun thing was at the very end, like the last song of the entire show, Maynard said, "All right, assholes, you can get your phones out now and record us if you want to."
Probably the most he talked all venue.
I think he said, "Hey Jersey" a couple of times, and he did say at one point, he says, "There's a lot of shit going on in the world, but that's outside and we're inside here tonight. Let it out, and we're here to have fun." Yeah. And so he kind of said, referenced that, you may be feeling other shit right now, but you're here, and let it be your church for a while, basically.
Amen.
So
it's a true statement. It really is it really is a religious experience. I mean, it's an experience. Were you glad that you went?
Yeah. I very much enjoyed myself. I ended up knowing, I think, about a third of what I heard. So I'm getting there.
It's not bad. They did a lot of, I looked at the set list. They did a lot of stuff, obviously from Fear Inoculum. But there were a few other songs, at least from, I saw, is it The Grudge? I saw was in there. It's a great show. I think Patient was in there maybe, but
Numa was in there for sure.
Numa
was fun. Because I've done a reaction of that one, and it was fun to see them do that one. I think that was my favorite part of the show, because that one was the one that I know the best.
Hey, what'd you think about the visuals and the effects and like the choreography with all of that?
It was the visuals, and the light show was more of a featured player for the experience than any band that I've ever seen. Because the band themselves were kind of they were very separated from themselves, and one guy was over here and one guy was over here. Maynard's in the back, like we never even saw Maynard's face the entire time, just hanging out in the back, and then the only person I could really see doing his stuff was Danny. So I was, and he's center stage, so it's basically the Danny Carey show as far as I'm concerned, with all those backing play. But the screen that came out at the beginning where they were projecting stuff onto, then the whole other stuff, it was really, really fascinating and top notch. The light show and the imagery that went with it. It was a wonderful, wonderful show. Maybe next time when I go, I'll know more of their tunes.
As you should. It's their catalog. I think this is
long but distinguished.
Can I get a name in? Right there. Yeah, but like literally you can put every single one of their albums on repeat, never get bored. I love Undertow. I love all of their albums, but I really, I was the first introduction to Tool was Undertow. So that album was the first that I really got hooked on.
Cool.
Right. But I think your reaction of Undertow, the song Undertow, it brought a whole new meaning to me. Right. I've listened to that song 100,000 times, and then And then I listened to your reaction. I'm like, oh wow, it gave it a completely different dynamic and layer, and like the way that the song slowed down and the way you explained,
Nice.
the undertows pulling him under. It just gave the song
Makes me
so much
happy.
more context. So
Makes me happy.
It's great.
Awesome. Well, Dan, I missed you this weekend, but I hope that we can get together at some point soon, whether it's for Tool or whether it's just to hang out and
Amsterdam. I'm going. So, I get wild hairs every once in a while, and so I think it's the 11th of May. I have to double
DJ
check.
Dan goes international. Are you going to fly to Europe just to see Tool?
I might.
No
I will
time
say
like the
one more
present.
thing. I know that I'm talking a lot on your.
I love it.
I
love it.
This is
here.
it, though, right? Yeah. So, we did salvage the weekend a little bit. I don't have the little thing in here right now, but it was 4 a.m. on a Saturday. And what do you do at 4 a.m. on a Saturday? If you're not going to New York to see Tool, you go get a puppy, right?
Aww.
So I don't. He's sleeping right now, so I don't want to.
So you were supposed to get a puppy. You were supposed to get Clark next weekend.
Yep.
But now that you weren't able to go to New York, you got to go get your puppy. Well,
so
silver lining. Awesome stuff. Dan, thanks for arranging the tickets and for pushing me to get there. Oh, there he is. He's got it even on his wall.
Oh,
there you go.
No joke, y'all. No joke.
It was a fun experience. It was my first time in an arena for a major concert in at least 2 years, probably
since
more.
We saw Opeth, I want to say.
Well, I've been in an arena since
G3.
then.
You saw G3.
I've seen some stuff since then, but since the pandemic, that was my first time. And the timing of it was so cool that the numbers are low enough in New Jersey now, and with the CDC saying what they said a few days before, everybody was just inside partying. And so it was so cool to be there with 13,000 people, and everybody's just like not worried about the boogeyman anymore, and just in the moment, and listening and watching Tool. There was a few spots where like the lights in the room came up enough that I could see kind of around the bowl of all of the fans, and just to watch a sea of people just reacting to what they're hearing all at the same time. It's a shared experience, and that's what we've been missing, during the lockdown. And it was just really cool to experience. So thanks for.
You're probably still on a high. You're probably still I'm no pun intended.
Well, there was less contact high than I was expecting. Actually, the Jersey people were behaving themselves mostly. But I look forward to the next time. So let's make sure that there's a next time.
We'll make sure that happens. I'll take you up on that.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on and telling us the story.
All right, Dr. Doug.
Yeah.
Pleasure's all mine.
All right.
And until then, listen to more Tool.
I can do that.
Hey, what's your next reaction? What's your next Tool reaction going to be?
The next Tool reaction
tomorrow, right?
Well, so we're recording this on Monday, and I went to the Tool show on Saturday, and so I'm going to drop a recap of my Tool experience, which will include all of this tomorrow. I don't know if I'll include a new song. I think I'll save the song for the next time, because I want to tell people what my experience was, and I wanted people to hear from you as well. So I don't know, maybe it should be Hooker with the Penis.
Well, it's a great song,
because they played that one. I think I didn't know it, and then the people next to me are going, Hooker with a Penis, and I thought that I thought some shit was going down. But I was wrong. That was just the song that was coming on from the stage. When you're at a concert and some big guy like 3 rows behind you yells out, Hooker with a Penis. I'm like, do I need to watch myself here?
You need to sit down.
Cover me, Goose.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but yes. H, Ticks and Leeches, Third Eye. I think you've done a lot of the big ones, but yeah,
I was hoping they'd play Lateralis, and they didn't.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. They didn't play. I think they played. You don't see them playing sober. You would have known that song, obviously, but I think they played it in Florida. I try to monitor the set list and kind of see what they're playing. But yeah, it doesn't get old. So very nice.
Very good.
Have fun. All right.
Thanks, Dan. See you
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Toodles.
Hey y'all, we are pre-gaming for Tool and we are in an Airbnb. And first off, we gotta have priorities, everybody. Pastrami sandwich. I've got one piece of bread for all of that. And this is our Airbnb for the night and we are having a good time. And we're pretty close, y'all, to the Tool venue because that's how we do things. Right over there. Let me see, how do I point? That one. There's the Prudential Center, and we're about to go hear a lot of music in D minor coming up. I'm excited to hear some Tool, so coming at you. Very good. Very good. Tool. All right, y'all, we are out front. Getting ready to see Tool. I am joined by our good friend Matt, who is my bouncer for the evening. This is both our first time to see Tool.
It is.
We're excited as shit, and the army of Tool fans are arriving, so we need to get our spot. So let's get in and hear some music. All right.
Radio, my radio.
I think we made it through the first half.
9 minutes until the second.
There's a countdown. And can't wait to see what's going to happen next. Hey y'all, it's after the concert and we're in our B&B and we stopped at a New Jersey deli and asked for a slice of chocolate cake. And that is after...
Wait, put your hand by it to show.
This is after we have both eaten on it more than we should. It weighs like 2 pounds. This is like an entire...
Here's a plastic lemon.
Yeah,
that's for
it's huge.
Size comparison.
Y'all. And we're going to have chocolate cake for a week.
The whole bottom end is off of it, by the way. There was a whole other portion.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, y'all, that was fun. I really enjoyed it. I am back in our little Airbnb after the show and starting to relax a little bit. I got a t-shirt I need to show y'all. It says Tool Tour 2022, and it's got this thing on the back. I went up to the lady and I said, hey, do y'all have any t-shirts in 3X? And the lady looks behind. She's like, it's either number 4 or number 8. I said, I'll have the number 4, supersize with a Dr. Pepper, please. And but no, it was a great time, and thanks to Bill for coming with us, and Matt for stepping in for DJ Dan tonight. We had a great time, and I think I'll look forward to seeing Tool again next time. So thanks, everybody. See ya. All right, y'all. So that is the way it happened on Saturday night. We had a wonderful time, and I am back here at my home studio, and I am wearing my Tool swag today. There is my tour shirt, and it fits, so all is good. A couple of thoughts as I am reflecting now a few days afterwards, after the concert happened. It was my first time at a Tool show. And a couple things were very interesting to me. The band did not really interact with each other. You didn't see bass player and guitar player like, you know, playing off of each other. You didn't really see lead singer and guitarist or lead singer and bass player getting together and interacting with themselves as they perform the music to all of the people that were gathered there. And I thought that was very interesting. The other thing that I found fascinating was how little of the band we actually saw. The drummer, Danny, was in center stage on, with this big drum kit, and he had lights on him, so you could see Danny the entire time. But bass player way over on this side, guitar player way over on this side, and Maynard never even came down to the main stage. He was on these platforms that were up on either side of Danny on the drums, and the entire show he sang from back there. And there was never a spotlight, there was never any illumination on Maynard so that we could actually see his face or see him singing. He was shrouded in darkness. You just saw like a silhouette of him the entire time, and that's odd. I've had a few people on our Discord and Patreon talking about how that's how Maynard likes to do things now. He's like, I'm just a member of the band, I'm not the front man, I sing, I play vocals, and so I'm just in the back and they're letting the music speak for itself. One of the other things that I found really fascinating was the light show, the imagery that was being projected and choreographed along with the songs. It was really expertly done, and man, HD and just really fascinating imagery that they put up there. Instead of showing us what the members of the band look like as they perform, one of the ways that I have become accustomed of interacting with band members in these big arenas is by having the big screens with a close-up of the people playing as they're playing. You're way back here in the back and you're looking at these little men on stage, doing their thing, but you can see what they actually look like as they're performing by the cameras being on them. Tool didn't do that. You never saw any enlarged version of what it looked like with Danny playing or Maynard singing, any of that stuff. That never happened. And it's an interesting way for Tool to decide to interact with their audience. It put the music up front and their egos not. They just came up on stage and did their thing. And man, they rocked the house. They really, really did. I'm looking at the set list here. They started with Fear Inoculum, which I have heard 1 or 2 times. Opiate, I have heard. That was an old one. And The Pot, I know that one. I did a reaction to it. Push It, I did a reaction to. And Numa, I think, was my favorite of the entire show. I know that one pretty well now. And so that was fun to see that one. And then after Numa, they played The Grudge, which I also know and enjoyed that one. After that, it was a lot of songs that I really didn't know. So I've got some more homework to do for the next time that I get to see Tool. And there will be a next time, hopefully with my little brother, DJ Dan. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me today and sort of hearing my recap of the concert. We'll get more Tool music coming to you soon, but today I just wanted to share what it was like to be at the concert. Had a great time. It was so great to be back in a big arena. We did have our masks on for a little while. I took mine off at one point to have a beer, and I kind of forgot to put it back on. And so I was like, all right, well, Band-Aid's off. So we're at a show, and the COVID numbers are down. We're just having a good old time. And it was great fun, and I'm looking forward to more live concert events that I will be attending in the coming months. I'll have some similar follow-ups on those as well. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me and for listening, and we'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.